Hello there, it's Tracy Elsom here, independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator based in Canada. Today I want to show you a technique that I haven't used in a while, and it involves using fun foam. This kind of stuff. It's about 1/8 of an inch thick, and you can get it in lots and lots of different colours. So the reason that made me think of this particular technique was when I got this stamp set. It's called Country Living, and it's got leather boots, a guitar and an old truck. And I saw the boots and I thought that would be lovely if we could make it in a leather effect, and I was reminded of a technique I used some time ago. So I thought I would show it to you very quickly and give you some ideas from other things that you can use your stamps on. Okay, so I'm going to start with a piece of fun foam. I've just cut it down to a manageable size. This is probably about 3.5 inches square, but it doesn't really matter. It's just that I made it big enough to fit my stamp on. And I have mounted the stamp, the boot stamp, onto my clear mount block. And it is really as simple as just heating up the foam and then stamping the image onto it. Now you have to use something that's permanent, like stays on, otherwise the minute you touch the image on your foam, once you've stamped it, it will just rub off on your hands, and that's not a good idea. So we'll start by heating it up. If you've got your sound turn up, you might want to turn it down just for a little bit, and I've got my paper piercer here just in case it decides to run away from me. So okay, so I'm heating up the foam, it's starting to bubble. You can see it just slightly changing colour, and it sort of gets a little bit of a shimmer on it. Okay, so make sure my stamp is good and inked up, and press down. Press it down and then hold it firmly. Okay, so, and then when we lift it up, you'll see that we have the imprint of the boots, and it looks a little leathery. So my next task is to add to that leather effect, and I'm going to do that with my big shot. So this will take up most of the shot. I simply have my Big Shot magnetic platform, very well used cutting plate. Then I'm going to put the foam on top, and I have the No. 3 stitched shape framelets, square one. I always count from the middle in. When you get older, you go from 1 to 2 to 3 years old. You get bigger as you get older. So I do the same with my stitch shape framelets, all my framelets. I start from the middle and count outwards. So that's the sandwich. Place the other cutting plate on top and run it through the Big Shot. There we go. Pull that out and move that to one side. Okay, so when we peel this off, we have our image, and we have this nice stitch cutting effect around. Now, when I first did this, we didn't have these lovely stitch shape framelets, and I had to do the stitching by hand, but all I'm going to do now is take my basic black marker, hit the fine point, and I'm going to run the fine point along that line of faux stitching. you go. And that accentuates the stitching on the image. So now I just need to make my card. I have a piece of very vanilla card there that's folded. I've used my bone folder to sharpen the crease. I've taken this beautiful grassy design from the Serene Scenery 6x6 Designer Series paper pack, and I'm just going to attach it to a piece of old olive card that I've pre-cut. This piece is 4 by 5 1/4 inches. The old olive piece is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And you see I use multi-purpose liquid glue, Tombow, and the reason for doing that is it gives me time to slide the piece around to make sure it's nice and centered. So that's that piece. Then to attach it to my card, I'm just going to use some tear and tape. Whoops. Stick it on the back. Let's just pull these pieces off. Oops. Takes time. Oops. There we go. Come off, you devil. Aha. There we are. So just some bits of tear and tape on the back there, and then I can place this on the front of my card. Now my sentiments, the Country Living stamp set doesn't have any sentiments, so I happen to have on my desk another stamp set that I've received recently, and it's Swan Lake. And I must admit the reason I got this particular stamp set was purely for these images that I was going to colour. And then I noticed these lovely sentiments and I thought these would be perfect for this card. So I have a piece of very vanilla card. This one is 3/4 of an inch by 2 3/4 of an inch. Nearly forgot then. And I'm just going to stamp this sentiment. It says, "Wherever you go today." So I'm going to stamp that straight up and straight down. There we go. So that's that one. I have a piece of old olive card that I have cut, and this is 7/8 by 2 7/8. And once again I'm just going to use multi-purpose liquid glue to attach that, again purely and simply so that I can give it a quick wiggle, get it nice and centered. I'll use Stampin' Dimensionals to attach that to my card. And let's put that up in this corner here. Okay, so that's that. Some more Stampin' Dimensionals on the back of this piece. And if you've watched my previous videos, you'll know that I do like to be generous with my Stampin' Dimensionals so that the card actually sits nicely. There we go. Let's pull off these little things. on my very, make sure the card is the right way up, make sure the top is the right way up, been there, seen that, done that, and I'm going to attach that to the front. Okay, so for the inside of the card, I'm just going to do, let's use cake ink, I think. The inside of the card I have another piece of very vanilla, and what I want to do is I'm going to stamp the other half of the sentiment, pear, and that just says may happen as follow. Hopefully my head's not in the shot. There we go. So that I did with the jet black stays on ink, and now let's just make sure my stamp is reasonably clean. So I'm just going to stamp the boots in this bottom corner. A bit more Tombow. You can see I don't use a lot. When you see people putting lots and lots and lots over the back, it really isn't necessary. And if you actually try, just put a small amount on and then try and separate it a minute or so later, and you'll find that these, even with the small amount I used, it is very, very well stuck. Okay, so that's the card. All that's left now is the envelope, and you know I like to decorate my envelopes as well, so a little bit of crumb cake ink, and there's my set of boots. So there you have it, the leather effect with the stitching around the outside, nice sentiment, finished off inside, and an envelope to match. So I hope that's been useful. I do like this idea of the faux leather, and with these stitch shaped framelits, it's a really easy technique to use. So if you've got any questions, do pop over to my blog and you can certainly ask them, and I'll see you again soon.